Welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Doing business in life with a purpose, serving others and achieving success. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. We created this show for you because we want everyone to learn how to do business and life to make an impact in the world. What impact will you make today? And my guest make an impact with faith, and that's why I love her, because as you know, if you've listened to a number of my shows, faith is a big part of my life in business and personally. So I'm excited to welcome Shannon. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Steve, for having me. It's an absolute pleasure and an honor.
What the heck is transformational mentoring?
Oh, jeepers. So transformational mentoring is because it's a lifelong process. So when you decide that you're going to transform your life, you're going to slowly learn, and it is a slow process. And it's not an overnight thing that you have to do. You grow and you become that person that you are meant to be. And what I do is I teach you all the tools that I learned through my process to get me from where I was in my addiction state to where I am now. And I have definitely found my greatness within, and I want to share that with the world.
What's your description of greatness within?
The most, I would call it the most highest elevation that you were in at that particular moment and time, because we all grow through stages of growth, and we all bring in all of these amazing people during that process. Then we learn from them. Some will stay with us, but unfortunately, some will not. Because as you learn, you grow, you elevate. And you're a big, strong, beautiful tree. And that's how I relate it to my clients. You are this big, strong, beautiful tree. Some of us at particular times don't really realize that, but I draw that out within you. And then with each season, as we all know, with a tree, leaves grow. And those are the people that come into your lives. And at that end of that particular season, a couple leaves stay, but the majority of them end up leaving. And then when the next season comes along, all these beautiful buds and everything happen again. And there's a whole group of people that come back into your life again, that are new, that help you to elevate again.
I like that. I like the image of the tree. Very powerful.
Because people can relate to that. Then they can't really fathom it until I put something into their 4D mind, right? Yeah.
I hear successful people on my show and reading stuff about them. They've all had mentors. What's your thought on somebody having a mentor to work with?
Oh my gosh. I have a mentor. I have several mentors to this day, and I will always have a mentor because I always want to learn. I always want to elevate. And that's one thing I want people to understand, especially when it comes to my clients, is I never, ever want to be that smartest individual in the room. Never. I want someone to be smarter than me so that I can learn off that individual, or I want to be surrounded by individuals that I want to be like. For example, if I want to be a millionaire, what do? I surround myself with millionaires. Very simple.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's interesting. I love that comment because there's two ways to go with that. You can take advantage of it and suck them dry, or you can sit and learn, like you said. And that's the way to do it. Be very humble, be open, be a sponge, and don't start pitching them and doing things that they've already been done a million times to them. That's why they're a millionaire.
One of my favorite phrases, I must say, is once you believe it, you will see it. We have been taught once you see it, you believe it. It's the opposite. Once you believe it, you will see it.
Yeah. Believe is the action. See is just a step. I love that. Now, talking about serving, when you bring value to people, does that help? Is that faith?
Absolutely.
How does that work?
How does that work? Okay, well, I can honestly say with my background of my addiction, I wasn't surrounded by people that had value or faith within themselves. because we're low vibrational beings. Anybody that has an addiction, we're low vibrational beings because we are filled with anxiety, stress, depression, all of that, right? So it wasn't until I actually was exposed to what the contrast actually was. So it wasn't until I got into more of my adolescent years, you know, where you become more outwards and you have friends and all this, right? That I could actually see from my friends' families that I hung out with, how they interacted, how there was loving, you know, comments. They were, you know, they just loved each other. And then I kind of looked at my family and I was like, oh my God, like my family really is screwed. But of course I didn't know that because that was my normal, right? Yeah. And so many families out there, that is their normal. But then there's lots of other families out there that have this great, amazing, beautiful family where it's all full of love and happiness and joy and all of it. And that's their normal. Yeah. So it wasn't until I was exposed to all these different things within my life that I realized, like, oh my God, like I didn't have faith within myself. How could you have faith and belief within yourself when you're brought in that type of environment? And then as you grow older and you're exposed to more different things within your life, what ends up happening, all these more experiences started to happen, right? You know, and then, you know, because with me, the majority of the feelings within my life were, of course, were anxiety, they were fear, they were depression. Faith doesn't grow in that. It doesn't. It can't. It's not a breeding ground. If anything, it's a disease. That's where diseases come from, right? That's why they call it dis-ease. But once I had that self-awareness of where I wanted to be and what I wanted to become within my life on that day, that 17th day of August back in 2019, that was where my journey really started to begin. But that was also when I no longer looked at my life as if it was my life. I had to really shift my perspective and really look at my life like, oh my gosh, like this is a story. Because if you really look at it, our lives are stories. Each day when we get up, it's a page in our story. And that was when I was like, no way, man. I'm going to start being the main character in my book. And that was when the self-awareness really started to kick in. That was when I could start to have that belief in myself. But it wasn't until then, because you have to have self-awareness first of what's actually happening and taking place in your life.
For an addict, one of the big first steps is find that culture of love somewhere. Friends, family, teacher, whoever that comes from. That's a big step for them then.
Yes, it's huge. Yeah. It's absolutely huge. And then, of course, the process, trying to find that love. What do? I became a people pleaser. I was a chameleon. You know, I literally would let people manipulate me and walk all over me because I didn't want to be alone. So I was looking for love in all the wrong places.
How'd you build confidence?
Wow. Well, you know, I can honestly say that once I got sober, I had been studying self-development for many, many, many years. I would say at that point, probably about 23, 24 years. And I can honestly say my very first love, people are going to laugh, but it was Dr. Wayne Dyer. You're talking about mentors. That man to me is who really, really, really saved my life from years prior. And I actually had the honor of going on stage with Dr. Wayne Dyer when I was pregnant in a conference in Toronto. There was over 700 of us there. And he was one of the men that I can honestly say who had built my confidence and had taught me about self-development and mindset and all of that. And I was pregnant at the time, and I do not believe in coincidences at all. And at this conference, there was over 700 of us there. And he had just finished his children's series. And he had asked anybody that was pregnant within the audience to please come up on stage. I was the only one. The only one. Now, what are the chances of that happening? So I got to share the stage alone with this magnificent man, and he blessed my stomach. And but when it came to self-development, and I look back years prior, before my addiction got really, really bad. And of course, you know, like you can have this amazing life and bring all these amazing, wonderful, beautiful things in your life when you're in a high vibration state, right? Of course you can, it's easy. But what I didn't realize And what people need to really understand is when you really need to work on self-development and the person that you are is when you are at the lowest times of your life. And that is what saved me, was when I had the awareness to look back and kind of track back in my life. Okay, what brought me goodness and happiness within my life? Oh, my mentors. Reading those particular books, those made me feel good, or taking these different courses or whatever it was. And that's what drew me back. That's what brought me to start to really believe and have faith within myself, because I knew that it was no longer around me, because I had done that for so many years. And all that it did was made me a people pleaser and a chameleon. It made me suicidal. It caused me to drink because I focused too much on what everybody else thought. And in the end, none of them gave a shit about me at all.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, and what's interesting, you made a great point, Shannon. A mentor doesn't have to be somebody you see physically.
No.
It could be that book, like you said, and you saw Wayne, you happen to have the opportunity to see a mentor, but research, study these people as mentors. And the other thing that you did is you took the action personally, but I think the next step or the bridge to cross is taking action outside yourself, right?
You have to take inspired action. You have to. You have to. You can't just sit there and think it's going to come to you, because it's not.
Right.
And the biggest thing is, if something fearful comes along, man, oh man, I'll tell you right now, if anything scares me, that is my sure sign that I have got to get past that fear, because that fear part is where the growth is. And now, because I am a transformational mentor, I embrace everything like that, because I know that that's another teaching tool that I can teach all of my clients.
Yeah.
That's what's going to make me stronger.
Yeah.
I
like that. Yeah. That's a great way to educate. You get deeper. Book smart's great, but when you get into the soul and the spirit, that's true mentoring. I really appreciate that. Well, you're big in faith, and I'm big in a servant's heart. And somebody's thinking, I love this podcast, or I love to be serving. So how does somebody take their faith and work it with their servant's heart?
I kind of look at it being as hand in hand. Because with the faith that I've got within myself, and I just kind of look at us as human beings, we are here to create. We are to have the most amazing journey that we could possibly have. And people don't understand that. No. We're here to experience things, whether they're good or bad. That's where the universal law of cause and effect comes in. And that's another thing that I also teach as well. Because whatever you do in life, there's always going to be an effect to what it is, whether it's good or bad. So there's learning lessons in every single tool, every single experience that you do or have, whether it's good or bad. And that's where the servant's heart comes in. Because it's our duty as human beings to start to teach others so they can have the most joyous, happiest, loving life that they can possibly have. We are here to work together. Yeah.
No, it's fantastic. Great stuff. Transformational mentor. But somebody's out there listening thinking, what do I look for? What are the characteristics of a good transformational mentor? There's good, bad dentists, doctors, chiropractors, but somebody really wants to find that transformational mentor. What should they look for?
I'm going to be totally honest with you when it comes to with this question. You need to find somebody that has gone through the exact same experiences that you're going through right now, because they will totally and completely understand the thoughts, feelings, and emotions that you're going through. And they will be able to pick up on all of that within seconds. And through my earlier years, my 20s and 30s, and even into my early 40s, I did go to therapy because of all the stuff that I had gone through throughout my life. And the therapy did serve a purpose, with the therapists and psychologists and that. And, they're there for a purpose. Absolutely. But I had got to a point within my life where they could not help me anymore, because they didn't understand what I was going through, because they kept on talking about the past, or, they were going by what, they were taught in university or through their textbooks or whatever. But I needed to go further and deeper than that. And they couldn't help me with that. So that was where I started to search out mentors, which started to have that had the experiences that I had gone through. And that's what I strongly recommend to people. If you have to go with the guidance of people that have gone through the same experiences, and then you will learn their tools. And those are all tools that you put in your toolbox. And you can either take it or you can leave it. But at least there's some guidance there for sure.
It's a great answer. I love that, because that fits in the circle with the circle hole, not the square peg. Yeah,
it does. And I really just kind of look at it as, you know, are you going to take gymnastics, get coached gymnastics by a hockey player? Same thing.
Yeah.
You know, you want to go to a professional gymnastics coach that has been through it, that knows all the moves, right? That knows the pros and cons, what worked for them. You know, you don't want to go to somebody that's a hockey player that's never done gymnastics before, right, that's never experienced it. It's the exact same thing.
So with the transformational mentor, we get that characteristic. What characteristics would a good servant leader have?
Number one, compassion.
Mm.
I think you have to have that state of compassion. You have to put yourself in their shoes for sure. And somebody that is a mentor that's gone through the exact same thing that you have, they will have that. They will have the knowing.
Yeah.
They will have the truth for you as well. You have to be with somebody who is going to speak their truth. Because when you're on a transformational journey, it's not easy, you know, but you have to be very supportive where the compassion comes in as well. And that's the one thing, you know, I speak my truth. I am who I am, you know, and I swear like a son of a gun, you know, and that's who I am. I'm very grounded. And I don't pretend to be somebody that I'm not. I've been there. I've done that. And I did it for everybody else. But now I live my life for me, and I live my life to help others.
Servant's heart. That's powerful, especially all you've been through.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that, I want to come back to that, is lifelong journey of this transformation. What would you tell somebody that says, oh my gosh, forever, lifelong? I don't know if I can do that.
Once you get into the mode of actually becoming that individual that you want to be, you want to grow more and more and more. There's that excitement and fire within you. And then the next thing you know, you want to start helping others because you want to share your joy. You want others to feel the love that you feel for yourself, and you want them to have that for others. As you can see, I'm starting to get excited because I'm just like, oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah. No,
I want to share this.
Yeah.
It's like, here's this best ice cream cone ever. You got to have a lick, Steve. Have a lick of an ice cream cone. It's the best thing ever. And that's what we're meant to do. It's
a great answer. It's taste. Yeah. It's a domino effect. What I've imaged is the dominoes. One goes down, next one, but it's the wins. You're talking about enjoy those wins, embrace those wins, and keep moving forward.
Yes. And when you have a downfall, that's okay. You learned from that. Because it's the law of rhythm. It's going to go up and down, up and down, up and down. And those down times are your learning times. Right?
One step back, two step forward. Yeah.
You betcha. Absolutely.
It's a great ROI. And that leads to addiction, transformation, ROI. I talk about on my show all the time because that's a business buzzword. It's important. If a business isn't growing or getting an ROI, they're going out of business. How much does this transformational mentoring affect a business owner and his ROI? Oh,
can you repeat the last part there?
How does it transformational mentoring? They've been through an addiction and things that you go through. They own a business. Going through this mentoring, how does it help their ROI, their return on their investment?
Well, it's never ending, because then you know that there is no limits, because really there are no limits, Because when you have that belief and faith in everything that you do, there's that knowing within you. You are the one that decides how far you want to go and what you can accomplish and you can't, what you want to accomplish and what you don't want to accomplish.
Yeah.
So the only person that's putting the limits is on yourself, but you also will have the awareness. Is this going to work for me? Is this feeling good for me? Because what we go by is our feelings within inside. It has nothing to do with anybody else anymore. It's all about you.
Yeah.
So it's so empowering. There are no limits to what you can do.
Yeah, and that no limits thing is powerful because
Absolutely.
For a business owner, CEO, whatever, top level executive, that's what you strive for, because then you can help your employees and of course eventually help your clients and prospects and customers of people that you work with.
I do want to touch more on that as well, because when you are open to receive as a business owner, there's going to be intuitive hits that come to you here and there and everywhere, right? It just opens up the opportunities. If you're having a conversation with somebody or you're thinking about a particular idea, when you're in the state of the art of allowing, the universe hears that no matter what. Like, I'm a big energy person or whatever, and I talk to the universe all the time. Shannon, I'll be like, okay, universe, this is what I particularly want. Can you please guide me or whatever? And I speak the truth when I say this. Within a week to 2 weeks, doesn't matter where I am, something will pop up or I'll be in a conversation or whatever. And it'll be like, I was just asking the universe regarding this. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm in that state of allowing. I never close my doors to any opportunity, because it's going to lead me to someplace. I'm going to investigate. Smart person investigates, right? But you know what? When you have that ease and flow within you, within your life, right? Just look at your world around you. That's going to tell you what state you are in. Like, I look at my life now, I have got the most beautiful things going on within my life and all around me. But that's because I've got the confidence in everything within myself. I don't have that chaos. I don't have that anxiety, that depression. None of it when I was in my addiction. It's all gone, right?
Powerful.
That's because I've allowed everything amazing and beautiful to flow to me now.
What a great message. What a way to end this show. That's such a positive way, which is what you said through the whole show. Positivity. Move forward with positivity all day. I want to thank you for being on the show. This has been fantastic, because I want a shot of adrenaline of positivity for people, and you did that. Shannon, you're amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I so appreciate it.
And everybody listening, listen to this again. That's why podcasts are great. Or take bits and pieces of it and take it and build your journey and grow with it. And I will see you all on the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart.